Hey, everybody. I'm comedian Sherri Sinclair, and you're listening to The Tony Holley Show.
Hey everybody, this is Tony, and I have a special guest with me today, Miss Sherri Sinclair. How are you today?
Tony Holley Show, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and yourself?
Oh, I'm putting up a good fight. Thinking about going down there to Washington, doing a little marching.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Now, Sherri, I first want to ask you, what made you become a comedian?
um, what made me become a comedian? Well, I was inspired by let me see. I want to say who was my inspiration to be a Actually, I didn't start out being a comedian. I started out being an actor. I started out in show business when I was 17 years old. My first introduction to show business was on a soap opera, Ryan Soap. And I wasn't always funny. I was more or a clown or a joke or anything like that. I was always like a smart mouth, a smart out.
Right.
You know, the type of kid that your mother would smack you in the mouth all the time. You always had
right.
Smart to say, which wasn't like a smart being. Like I wasn't really a smart aleck. I was just always truthful. So my mouth, you know, like
right.
if the insurance man came to the door and my mother would say, "Go tell him I wasn't home," I would tell him. My mother told me to tell you she ain't home, and then I was smacked in the mouth for that. So
exactly, but you're supposed to say it the way she wanted you to.
Exactly. I was always just the truth. So, you know, I was inspired by I guess classmates from taking acting classes and stuff like that. People just always say, "Oh, you're funny." I had no idea I was funny. Today, people think telling the truth is funny. I guess because we live in a reality society. But yeah,
right.
Always telling the truth.
Okay. Now, for people who may not know you, who might be listening to this interview, can you please just let them know some of the things that you have done as a comedian or as an actress, and some of the people that you have worked with? You don't have to name everything, though.
Okay. Well, God is good, and I always tell people all the time, you know, if you have a dream, follow your dream, because as a comedian, I had the opportunity. I worked actually full time for over 10 years as a comedian. Full time meaning I supported myself, supported my household, and paid bills with working as a comedian. Had the opportunity to go travel all around the world, entertaining the troops over in Europe, Amsterdam, Belgium, London, France. Just real good opportunities. God opened up the doors for me, and just believing in myself, taking that to the stage, and doors open up for me. Let's see. It's hard talking about yourself. You want me to send you my resume? It's hard. I've had the opportunity to work with comedians. Like I was on the road with Bruce Bruce. Was on the road with Monique, D.L. Hughley. A friend of mine is Mr. Cosby. I don't know if that's appropriate to mention his name right now, but I was friends with Mr. Cosby, literally friends with him for over 12 years.
Right.
Who else? I've been on a few TV shows, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I did Comic View over 6 times. My first Comic View was in New Orleans, where Bruce was the host. Best time I ever had. The best time I ever had. That's about it. I mean, who else? I know them all. Mark Curry. Kevin Hart. Kevin and I started out together. Tracy Morgan and I started out together. Mike Epps and I started out together. Mike Epps back in the day with Tracy Morgan, J.B. Smoove, and all those guys that you see working in front of you right now. I was the only one with a car. in town in New York, so I would get everybody around in their gigs. As a matter of fact, Mike Epps, if you listen to this, you told me when you become famous, you was going to help me out, so you owe me one, okay? Yeah, so most of the guys I can't.
You know what, Mike?
Say it again?
Well, Mike Epps supposed to be coming to Miami for a comedy show here next month, so if I go to the show, I'll let him know Sherri Sinclair say she asked for you.
Oh, please do. And look at him and point your finger at him and say, he said you owe her one. He knows exactly. He'll know exactly what you're talking about. The good thing about it is that for me being a comedian and having an opportunity to work with everybody, I don't drop names with people that I'm just familiar with. I know these people personally. They know me, and I know that Cheryl Underwood is a good friend of mine. Aisha Tyler, those two women who you see on the talk right now. Actually, when I was younger, coming up, Adele Givens and Joe Torre had taken me out on the road with them. So, yeah, I've worked with the best of them, the best.
Okay. So, what do you think is the best part about being a comedian?
The best part about being a comedian, Tony, is to know that for the time that you're on stage, whether it's 45 minutes to an hour or 20 minutes to 5 minutes, if you can make someone laugh and bring joy and laughter into someone's life and heart, it's just such an overwhelming feeling. It's a feeling you can't even really describe. Like, I do work a day job right now because I'm in New York and I'm going out on auditions back and forth, more so than doing stand-up. And when I come in from my day job and I come home, rarely do I say, oh, I had such a good time at work today. Oh, that's so cool. You ain't hearing that from me. I walk in, I'm pulling off my shoes.
Exactly.
I'm talking out loud to myself. Oh, I ain't going back there tomorrow. But when I come in from doing a show, a comedy show, I walk in and it's just like, yes, thank you, Jesus. That felt good. Oh, okay. I love it so much. So see the difference? See the difference?
It's a total difference, a total opposite.
Yes, so that's the joy and pleasure that I get out of it, and I'm born to do it, and it's a gift that God has given you, and He ain't done with me yet. I still got some more laughs in me.
That's right. Now, when you doing on stage comedy, when you're doing a joke, before you do that joke, how do you know the joke is funny?
Because if it cracks me up inside, then I'm my first audience member, because if I crack up about it inside, I know it's going to be funny, and it's also how you deliver it. If I crack myself up about it, there's been times that I'm on stage and I just say something, just off improv, just came to the top of my head, wasn't even in my set. And just cracked me up totally, where I had to take a pause and just like get myself together, because I love to laugh. I love to laugh, and I make jokes out of the least little thing that's funny, mainly things that people don't find funny. I always find something funny.
Right. So now, I told you before, I did an interview with Leslie Jones, who's on Saturday Night Live now. And she told me that she didn't like how announcers, when you're doing a show, introduces you as a female comedian, that she would rather be just introduced as a comedian, period. How do you feel about a situation like that?
I agree with her. On that, because a lot of times this is a male predominantly business genre, being a comedian. I've actually gotten into debate with other male comedians about, being a female comedian. Like, why do you want to do this? This is a man's job type of thing. I agree with Leslie on that, because, sometimes the host will bring you out like you some kind of foreign specimen. Y'all ready for your next comedian? Yeah. Put your seatbelt on. Put your 3D glasses on. It's a female.
Exactly.
She's like, oh my God, it's a woman coming to the stage. She got something funny on her mind. Really? So there has been times when I would tell the host, just bring me out. Don't say female. Just bring me out as your next comedian coming to the stage.
Right. You want to be treated.
Because if they bring you out like that, the expectation, it shifts in the audience. The audience is looking for something different because you're a woman. It's like, no, I'm going to tell my story just like the last guy did. You know, and so you don't want to shift the energy of the audience, and it does. 9 times out of 10, they're supposed to bring you out like that. Oh, y'all ready for your next comedian? It's a female. The whole audience will shift. The energy in the crowd will shift because they're expecting either you to, dog a man out, or just talk super vulgar, or just not be as funny as the next guy. Put it like that coming out. So
right.
It's not there. I'm with you. I'm with Leslie on that.
Okay. Now, what would you say is your what keeps you grounded? Being in comedy so long, over 10 years, what keeps you grounded?
Like I said, Tony, I feel like this is a gift from God. It's a gift. It's a talent. It's something that's in you. Because there's been several times in my life where I just tried to really say, all right, I'm done with that. Moving on. Let me do something else. Because life ain't nothing but a journey. But I've always managed to come back to comedy because it's what I love. And like I mentioned, I was friends with Mr. Cosby for many years, and many years he tried to kind of gear me in a direction as far as, how to present myself as a woman, being on stage, and being a African American woman, how not to be as vulgar, because sometimes these clubs go, you're booked at these clubs, they want to know, oh, are you dirty or clean? Now, I don't know if they answer white female comedians that, are you dirty or clean? But we black women, we struggle with that for a long time. Like, a lot of clubs won't even book us. A lot of main venues won't book us. For example, I was told down at the Borgata in Atlantic City that they weren't going to have longer fights back. This was years ago because she cussed too much. And
Right.
The promoter, I was sitting in the green room with Bill Cosby, Mr. Cosby. I call him Mr. Cosby. He will always be Mr. Cosby to me. And the promoter, and they were like, we just had Wanda here, and great gal, but she cursed entirely too much. You could just see the audience, people in the audience cringing, that type of thing. So he wanted me to hear that. But are we recording now?
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, at that time, me being a new comedian, black female comedian, he was trying to stress to me that it wasn't necessary to cuss and to be vulgar. And I found that going forward, trying to get booked in the mainstream clubs as a black woman, they would want to know, well, do you do that Def Jam type of comedy, or are you blue? That's how they portray, dirty talking. But I don't think, being a white female comedian, that they were asked those questions. But for a black female, these are the questions that were answered. Is she clean, or is she dirty? Is she blue? She do Def Jam comedy, whatever. Which is, I don't understand. It doesn't go the same. It's no balance with our counterparts. But so in the meantime, Mr. Cosby was trying to gear me towards that type of comedy. But for me, comedy is from the heart. It comes from your own experience. And I get the propaganda of it, how you're trying to portray yourself in front of the world. But to be a true comedian, you want to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, because we're living in a reality society today, and people know when you're lying. So as a grown woman, every now and then, you going to cuss. And I'm a Christian woman. So sometimes you don't think Obama, you don't think Michelle cuss a little bit? You can look at her eyes.
Absolutely.
Look when she roll her eyes, she's saying a cuss word underneath her breath. So I'm sure at this point, Mr. Cosby, he probably want to cuss a little bit himself right about now. I'm sure he's somewhere cussing, right?
Absolutely. Also, I want to ask you, if you never did comedy on a stage again, if you never told another joke again, what would you want people to remember about Sherri Sinclair?
I actually am a grandmother now, and I look at my little granddaughter's eyes, and I have to, the realization is that I would like to leave a legacy for her that she is proud of, meaning that her grandmother contributed to society in a major way, which is helping people, giving back to people, helping the ones in need, making a difference in someone's life. For me, being broke, temporarily financially challenged, I can't always help you with money, but I can always put a smile on your face, and that I know for sure.
Right, absolutely. And the last thing I want to ask you is, if you had to describe yourself in just 3 words, what would they be?
Beautiful, spiritual, devoted, one more word, and committed.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Sherri Sinclair. Sherri, please let everybody know where they can find you on the internet and everywhere else.
I'm on everything. I'm on all the social media sites. You just put my name in, Sherri Sinclair, at wherever. I'm there. I will even show up even if I'm not there. I just show up. I'm even on MySpace. I'm I really am not on Twitter, but because I normally Twitter myself, but it's okay. You can find me on Twitter too.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Sherri Sinclair. Please make sure you check her out. Look up some of her work. If you don't know her already, get familiar with her. She is a very funny lady. I want to thank you again for doing this with me today.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for having me, and God bless you, dear.
No problem at all. And you too.
Okay.